What's up everybody, JB Tech Fanatic here, back again with another video. As always, I'd like to take a moment to say thank you for joining me today, invite you to subscribe if you have not. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and if you want to know when the latest content is available, don't forget to click the notifications to on. Today we are back with Samsung. Now first let me start by saying that Samsung is on one heck of a run. They have been putting out some outstanding phones, tablets, and TVs. And included in that, their soundbars. It is something that they have been really, I would say they've jumped leaps and bounds. If we went back, gosh, all the way to the S3, we go to the S4, sort of takes off. And then once we hit the S8 is when things really started to change, in my opinion. Fast forward to today, we have tons of great options. We have powerful phones, powerful cameras that really could last us for years on end. We often get, at least in the tech world, we want to know what the latest and greatest is. You know, every 6 months there's a new phone out, but we don't ever stop to appreciate the fact where we are with these devices. Now you, the average consumer, need to understand that if you go onto a tech channel and all you can find is comparisons, the S23 Ultra to the S22 Ultra, and you know, most of them are saying it's the same phone, yada yada. First off, there's a big group of people that don't upgrade every 6 months or every year. Now, this is something that I completely agree with. There is no reason for you to spend your hard-earned money every single 6 months or every year on the latest device. Unless that's something you're into, you have the finances, of course, that's something that you could do and it's great, but it's not something that's needed. What you typically are looking for when you go, it's time for you to get your upgrade, or it's time to get a new phone, you broke one, or whatever it might be, you want to get the best features for the money. Now, it is no joke that these phones have really soared in prices. I mean, when you really think about the price of devices, they are more than most PCs in most cases. And a lot of that has to do with several things. One, these devices can do everything. Video, photo, computer, editing, it really doesn't matter, you know, social media, just anything that you can think of in this day and age, the phone can now do. And in addition to that, it fits in our pocket. It's something that's with us all the time. So that, along with the fact, I believe in most cases, they let you do device payments, or, you know, they get you on these 36-month credit deals where they get you into that device. But this has given them the ability to really raise the price of these devices, but in turn, give us quality products. And that is what we want to focus on today. First, let me start by saying that the S23 and the S22 Ultra do look very much alike, with two exceptions. They are actually reformatted, if you will, to be the same phone, except the sides are definitely thicker and easier to hold on the S23 Ultra, and the front of the device has much less of a curve in the usable screen area. Now, for those of you that are S Pen fans, this is going to make a big difference to you. If you like more of a squared off phone, and that was one of the reasons why you didn't want the Ultra, you will like this phone because it really gives you that squared off look. So what we're going to do is we're going to dig deep into the S23 Ultra, and we're also going to talk about the Fold4 and see what phone would be best for you. Thank you for joining me. Let's get started. In front of us, we have the Fold4. there's the S22 Ultra, and then we have the S8 Ultra. Now we're gonna, of course, open up the S23 Ultra in a moment, but a few things I wanted to mention. First, if you watch my channel, you know that I always talk about ecosystem. Building an ecosystem is very important to me. I want my products to work together, and I want them to work together easily. Now, these products by Samsung are not only the top of the line products that they sell in their mobile department, but they also go hand in hand with their TVs as well as their smart appliances. Anytime you start to get new appliances in your home, or you want to go into a smart home category, you want things that work together. I highly recommend looking into this when you do so. I have Samsung smart appliances. These all work together nicely. Tab S8 Ultra, best Android tablet ever made to date. I love it. It's outstanding. It's been well over a year in use. It's fast, vivid, beautiful screen, and I absolutely love it. It works great with my laptop and all of my Samsung mobile devices. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you here is I just put a few of the boxes out. Presentation. First, let me start by saying boring, right? Black is nice and sleek, but you know, I don't know if I'm buying into they're trying to save the planet as far as they're more trying to cut money. I think they're just trying to make the packaging cheaper. That's fine, except when I spend this kind of money, I do like to have a nice presentation, a little color packaging. That's just me. Next thing, we still don't get a charging brick. Now, I just think it's a complete excuse. If you want to say, I'm going to ask the person who's purchasing the phone, hey, do you have a bunch of chargers? Do you need one? And I say, no, you don't give me one. That's one thing. But to just not give us one year after year, banking on the fact that either A, we have one or we're going to buy one, how does that save any environment? We still need a charging brick. And truthfully, if you really wanted to save the planet, don't come out with a phone every 6 months, right? Anyway, that's my gripes. Let's get on to the Galaxy S23 Ultra. As you can see, the box stayed relatively the same, little bit different. It has a picture of the phone on the front. On the back, just tells you the variant. This is the Verizon 512 gig. All right, open up the box. Not much to see. This is a little bit different here than last year. Kind of put this cover over the phone. No built-in screen protector. We just got this here that we just tear off. Kind of probably keeps all the sand off or any fine particles. But first glance, of course, this phone is gorgeous. All right, take a good close-up look. Build quality is definitely beautiful. You can see those cameras pop out much more than the S22 Ultras did. I'll look at them side by side. Got that new extended side, if you would. Top, this has a plastic coating on it. I like to leave that on there. Got your volume rocker, power button all in the right spots, in my opinion. S Pen speaker, USB Type-C, and SIM card slot. Very nice. All right, so this is the S22 Ultra, and then the S23. You could see how much almost thicker the side is. It's not really much thicker as a phone. It's just, again, much easier to hold. The positions of the buttons are in the same spots. Give you a nice top view here. Got the other side real quick. Quick look at the bottom. Here's a look at the back. Now you can see that this is the white S22 Ultra and then the cream S23 Ultra. It is different. I actually think the cream looks much better. You know, the camera's not really doing it justice, but both of them look great. Look, a close-up look at the cameras. Again, the left is the S23. The right is the S22 Ultra there. Here we have these screens powered on side by side. The left is the S23 Ultra. This is a harder shot to get. So the top is the S23. As you can see, hopefully you can tell, but that curve is much flatter where the screen surface is. If you look at the bottom, the screen surface still kind of bends over, but up top you get the same amount of screen, except it doesn't do that sort of waterfall over, but it still gives you that waterfall grip, if you know what I mean. It makes a big difference when you're using the S Pen. One more shot. Again, you can see they sort of blacked out the waterfall area just a tad, but it really does make a big difference in real world use. Here's another, I hope, useful view for those of you that are sort of in between whether you want the Fold 4 or the S23 Ultra. Here we have the Fold 4. You can see it's hard to beat that big surface area. But when we close the device, that's when you can see the sacrifice that you have to give if you're not using the device unfolded. As you can see, it's much smaller. Probably can't tell on camera, but it's nowhere close to the same crispness, resolution, sharpness. You know, all of that's lower, of course, but it's also a long and narrow device. This is probably going to change through, you know, the version. Maybe version 5 will fix that. Not to say that I still don't love the Fold 4, and they did do a better job of squaring it off versus the 3, but it was, again, just a little bit of detail shaved off there. But there you go next together. I actually like Samsung branded cases. They're a little pricey unless you can get them, you know, at pre-order for a deal. One of my favorites on the Fold is this silicone grip case. It makes sure that you don't drop your phone. It's really nice. You just stick your hand in there and you can hold your phone. I enjoy it, so I went ahead and I got the black version of it for the S23 Ultra. The next, they have this clear gadget case. This is new. You can add different pieces. Of course, you have to buy them. It looks like it just comes with the kickstand. We'll look at these real quick. All right, we got these out of their packages. First, let's take a look at the silicone grip case. This is more protective than most. It's, you know, definitely rugged, not as dressy if you would. I do like that it's protective. I love this strap. Put your hand in there, make sure you don't drop your phone. You got the inside, that nice and soft material, so it won't give you those little fine scrapes or scratches on the back of your device. Another thing I love about this case is that you can actually snap out this strap, change it to a different color. If it gets old or ruined, you can switch it out. I like that a lot. It's very protective, lightweight, but protective. So far, so good. With these beautiful phones, we always put these big, bulky, ugly cases on it. I always have to have a nice, clear case. This is a protective but clear, so you can see the beauty of your device. If you drop it, it's got that, you know, that lip on the front, so you're not going to shatter the screen, and it's drop protective. I'll put some links down in the description. I got this cheap. I think this is like 16 bucks, but as you can see, nice protective case, totally see-through. Also, I put a screen protector on. As you can see, you can't even tell that there's one on. This is not glass, but it does have a glass filling. And I've used this on many of my devices, and it seems to hold up really well. But I'm really interested this year in this case in particular. This is the clear gadget case. It's see-through and it's very thin, but you can actually get different attachments and swap them out. It comes with a kickstand attachment. It's like a hard plastic feel, but I think it's going to do a good job of not adding any bulk to your device. But honestly, I don't know how protective it's going to be if you drop it, and how expensive the addition pieces will be. Hopefully they're just a couple bucks. I wish it came with more, but we'll look at those when they come out, or if I haven't seen any available yet, but I know that they will be. But just to show you real quick, here's the attachment that it comes with. As you can see, it has this little, looks like locking mechanism. So all we need to do is pop off this cap here. Then you can see, just gonna slide this on, twist it into place. Just wanna make sure that it locks. Now it's locked into position. We have our kickstand. You can hold your phone. It's pretty cool, great idea. Definitely interested in this. Let's go ahead and put this on, see what it looks like. Now, you're gonna wanna snap this all the way into place, of course. I wonder if my camera things are going to work in there. Yep, I have protectors on my camera lenses, but definitely does not add any bulk at all. Definitely digging this one. Still not sold on how safe it'll be. It does have that little raised lip there, so if it falls flat, we should be good. Bottom is not protected, so you might get some scratches, but otherwise, I like it a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you, that was very difficult to get off. I feel like I was gonna break my phone in half. Anyway, I got it out. This one will be a lot easier. This just kind of slides in and out. That's what it looks like there. Does add a little bit of bulk to it, but again, I'm trying to show you there. I love that strap. Perfect. Hopefully this will be helpful. Starting on the left, you have the S22 Ultra, Fold 4 in the middle, and to the right, the S23 Ultra. For those of you that are trying to decide which one you want to purchase, I will say, remember, anytime you film a screen, it's not going to look as good as it does in real life. As far as screens go, you can't miss with Samsung. They're gorgeous, they're bright, they're vivid, and they've really pushed the boundaries of mobile technology, and I really enjoy any of these, truly. But let's be honest, if you're going to get a new phone right now, you're likely going to get the S23 Ultra or the Fold 4. That big screen is something special. It's something that'll hook you in, and it's hard to not have once you've enjoyed it. But again, the one caveat to that is you have to open the phone. Otherwise, these are all stunning displays. However, if I'm being completely honest, the S23 Ultra is the most pleasing to my eyes, in my opinion, but of course, very close S22 Ultra. They really are the same screens, more or less, with some software tweaks. So let's quickly go across these specs here. We're just going to go over the Z Fold 4 and the S23 Ultra, as these are the main devices we're speaking of. Galaxy S23 Ultra has a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED edge display, curved 19:3:9 aspect ratio, QHD plus, resolution 3088 by 1440. It has a 120 Hz adaptive refresh rate from 1 Hz to 120 Hz. Going to the Z Fold 4, we have a 6.2-inch dynamic AMOLED 120 Hz refresh, 2316 by 904 resolution, and that of course is the exterior. The interior is a 7.6-inch dynamic AMOLED 120 Hz refresh rate, 2176 by 1812 resolution with the foldable display cover. Now, as far as the processors, the Fold 4 is running the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, and then of course the S23 Ultra is now on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. As far as RAM goes, in the Fold 4 you get 12 gigs, in the S23 Ultra you get 8 to 12 gigs, depending on, you get 8 gigs if you get 256 gigs. If you get the 512 gig or 1 terabyte, you get the 12 gigs of RAM. As far as your storage, that's what dictates your RAM. That's not the case, of course. It seems as it has 12 gigs of RAM all across the line in the Fold 4, using UFS 3.1. Battery size. In the Fold 4, 4400 mAh. It has 25 watt wired charging, 10 watt wireless charging. In the S23 Ultra, you have a 5000 mAh, so a much bigger battery there. You have 45 watt wired charging, so you get faster wire charging, and 15 watt wireless charging, so across the board you get faster charging. As far as camera goes, Fold 4, 50 megapixel, 12 ultra wide. Let me back up a little. You get a 50 megapixel wide camera, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and a 10 megapixel telephoto, with a front-facing 10 megapixel wide and a 4 megapixel under the display camera, when on your S23 Ultra, you get a 200 megapixel wide, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, a 10 megapixel 3x telephoto, a 10 megapixel 10x telephoto, and a 12 megapixel wide front-facing camera. Now, of course, the software is going to vary just a little bit, but these are both going to get the latest update. What I mean by they're going to vary a little bit is, of course, you get more of a tablet-like experience, so there's a little bit extra stuff added there, but more or less they will be running the same, likely by the time you get yours if you don't already have it. Now, S Pen is supported on all three of these devices. Just know it is built into the S23 Ultra. It is external on the Fold series as of now. Quick look side by side at the back, S23 Ultra, Fold 4. So as you can see, it's going to be a much wider phone, the S23 Ultra, of course. But the Fold 4, when it's folded, is going to be much thicker, of course. However, when it's folded out, of course, it's going to be much thinner. We'll do that in a moment. There you go with the Fold 4 open. You can see that it's very thin, but the S23 Ultra is not much thicker, but definitely the Fold 4 is thinner when it's open. Let's take a look at the difference in the settings for the camera. This is where we get some real special differences. As you can see, we have the 200 megapixel, we have the 50 megapixel, we have 3x4, 9x16, 1x1 in full. Now when I flip over to the video camera, you can see I have 8K, 8K at 30 fps, UHD at 60. We have UHD 30, FHD 60, FHD 30, and HD 30. Then when I flip over to the front facing camera, you can see that we have a full 4K at 60 FPS as well as 30 FPS, and then we have FHD 30 and 60 and HD. Then if we just go straight to photo mode, you will see that we no longer have that higher resolution. But again, so far, in my opinion, it's still taking better pictures. So now we have two amazing phones to choose from. We have the Galaxy S23 Ultra or the Galaxy Z Fold 4. Now, these are both great phones with top-end specs, but different form factors. And I like that Samsung has basically went two ways. For those of us that want different, they give us the foldable phones. For those of us that just like the tried and true power horse with the beautiful specs and big screen, and of course the S Pen, we got the S Ultra series. Now, I was a big Note fan, but it really turned out pretty well. Put the S Pen in the S series and let's go forward with the foldables. Samsung has two releases, right? They have their S series releases at sort of the beginning February, March, and then they have now their foldables, which is typically, September, somewhere around them. They keep changing that up a little bit. But first, let me start by saying, if you want a tablet experience and you like it to fold up in your pocket, the Z Fold is definitely the way to go. The problem with products like this is, for those of you that are hard on your devices, for those of you that work maybe outside, maybe construction or welding, anything like that, the foldable probably is not the best phone to take with you, even when you protect it with case. But the S23 Ultra, however, is definitely a phone that you can get some great, really protective cases for, and you should be fine. Probably want to get some sort of warranty plan if that's a concern either way. Now, when we talk about phones and we talk about the competition, there's tons of competition, and there is lots of phones out there that are really, really competitively priced with top-of-the-line specs. I will say this, having tried so many different devices, It is so true that specs don't mean everything. There's been certain phones that come out like monster house phones, you know, just specifications that are just out of this world, and they're just not pleasant to use because the user experience has been sort of forsaken, or they're a new company and they haven't really developed it yet. So we're in that process of time where we have a company that's been developing powerhouse phones, developing their software. People used to not care for Samsung software, and I'll tell you what, the One UI in this day and age is outstanding. Honestly, we normally have new features that Android comes out with later, the big Android 13, 14, whatever comes out. Typically, Samsung already has some sort of variation of the features that's coming out. But when you talk about phones with multi-window capabilities, you really cannot compete with Samsung. This is something that I believe they were the first phone to start doing, and they've just really expanded on that. So if you're into, opening up lots of windows and you want, again, that tablet experience, that Fold, when it folds out, it's hard to go back from that. You got that big surface area. It's really fluid. It looks good. And, I'm wondering in this the light, you can kind of see that fold, but what's weird about the Fold, and I do hope it gets less noticeable as far as at all times, but when you're watching a YouTube video or something, it literally just blends right in. Now, the S23 Ultra did two things that really kind of, in my opinion, if I had to choose one or the other, I guess I would still choose the S23 Ultra. One, we have that 200 megapixel camera, and we have the ability to use a 50 megapixel camera. Typically, it was one or the other, right? You sort of had your camera settings and you can go to the 100 megapixel, but you didn't have anything in between. You normally drop down to around 12, 9, somewhere around there. So in this case, we have lots of options, including that massive 200 megapixel sensor. But that's not even what's most important to me. What I like most about phones is their ability to record video. 4K 60 FPS looks stunning on the S23 Ultra. It just continues on from the S22. It just gets better, and we're starting to get into 8K. We got 8K recording at 30 frames per second. You actually have a usable 8K camera. There was 8K on here before, the stabilization was terrible. It's just getting better. Pretty soon, it's going to be hard to compete even with, I always think about camcorders when they were popular. I know they still exist, but it's like this big bulky thing, and you got this, maybe I remember when 1080p came out, it was a fortune for the camera, and it just barely got, the frames you wanted. And then we got these phones in our hands that can do it, and it's really just unreal to me. As far as how it feels in the hand, and I love the way it feels. We all, of course, or not all of us, but a lot of us put cases on it. I've always thought it was weird how we get these beautiful devices and we have to slap a case on it. But it feels good in the hand. I like, again, that thicker bezel. I keep saying that because it does make such a difference when you hold it. It just makes it more comfortable. It makes it like you're not going to drop it on the ground, if you would. You could still sort of put your finger there on that camera to hold it up if you'd like. But all in all, looks good, feels good, and it's still got that nice, silky, smooth finish. This was their white variant, and then we got their new one here. And if you notice, they don't call it white. I forget what they call this, ivory or, I don't know, cream or something. But if you notice, it just looks a little bit more luxurious, in my opinion. You might think not, but they, of course, have lots of other colors. Now, Z Fold 4, you got 12 gigs of RAM. Here, this is the 512. You can go up to 1 terabyte with 12 gigs of RAM. If you get the 256, which is upgraded from the 128, you're only going to get 8 gigs of RAM. But also what I like is they sort of uniformly given us all the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, so it doesn't matter what country you're in, you're going to be able to get that same performance from your phone. So that is a big step in the right direction. Other than that, I so far am really loving this phone, and I want to talk to the people that are upgrading. First, you're going to ask, should I upgrade if I have the S22 Ultra? My answer to you is this. If camera is important to you, video, photo, that would be yes. And if you want a more usable surface area with your S Pen, the answer is yes. Is it an absolute must? No, it is not, of course. But to all you other people out there that are ready for your upgrade, you don't have the S22 Ultra, and you're thinking, is it time to come over to Samsung? Yes, absolutely. Any other Samsung phone, I would recommend the S23 Ultra over any other phone. Second to the Z Fold 4. But I only recommend, as cool as this phone is, the Z Fold 4 to the person that's almost, if you would, more okay with prototype still stage. I know it's the 4th generation, but we're still getting there. It's still getting there. And what I mean by that is it really comes down to really being comfortable using it and not being so afraid that you're going to break it. And that sometimes, unfortunately, haunts you. It's like, I don't know if I should take it to this place because it's going to be sand there, or you know, it's whatever it might be. You just feel like, you know, you got this $2,000 phone in your hand and you don't want to break it. So that is always in the back of your mind. And even with the insurance, the deductible on this thing is massive. So there's just that needs to come down to a more tolerable level. And then I'll say, hey, it's for the masses. But other than that, it's a great phone. It's fast, it's smooth, it's beautiful. I love it. The cameras need to get better on it. I don't understand why they haven't just upped them to the same position as the S line. We'll see if that happens. The S Pen needs to be built in, and then the Fold 4 will really be great once they figure out how to just make this a little bit more unbreakable, if you would. But for now, I'm telling you this, and I mean this wholeheartedly. The S22 Ultra is insane. I love it. Great phone. I'm so happy I got it. I think you'll like it. Definitely give it a try. Well, that pretty much wraps up my review. I hope that I answered all of your questions, but if I missed anything, remember, I do YouTube for you and you only. You can come find me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at JB Tech Fanatic, or best place to reach me is in the comment section. If I can answer any questions, I will do my best to help you out. As always, I'd like to slow things down for a moment and remind you life is so short. Don't forget to love your family, love your neighbors. Go out today and do a small act of kindness for someone. It is amazing how the smallest act of kindness can change someone's day. It is a mess out there in this world, and that's to say it lightly. And the only people that can change it is you and I. If you need me, again, reach out to me. I'd like to invite you to subscribe one more time. Thank you all so much for your support. I can't wait to talk to you in the comments section and see you in the next video. And until then, I'm JB Tech Fanatic, and I'm out. Peace.